Hello friends, welcome to my channel FinTech Logics. So today we will cover in short about payment regulations. So as we all know that payment is a area where there is lot of compliance or regulations need which is required. Some of these are imposed by the central government, some of these by the banks, and some of these by the universal code of conduct as well. So one such regulation which is very prevalent in India for a long time is called as PSS Act. So let's look at PSS Act summary and what way it controls. Now I have created a lot of videos on payments. I'll try to give some link if you have not seen about the overall payment framework in lending or some of the development areas of digital. So let's jump to the topic of our discussion today. So Payment and Settlement Systems Act is the full form of your PSS Act. Now this was first created in 2007. It was enacted by the half year of 2008, and there has been subsequent changes and advancement on this PSS Act from time and again, and the last one was done even on 2022. I'm telling about substantial changes. Now let's look at PSS Act summary in short. Now applicability. Now who is this PSS Act applicable to? So this is applicable to all the banks, post offices, your cooperative banks and NBFCs. So primarily whoever is dealing with intermediary or direct party of your funds transfer in any payments case comes under PSS Act. Now this law also specifically mentions about stock exchanges and clearing corporations, specifically on stock exchanges being excluded from this act. Otherwise, in short, all payment bodies come under the compliance regulation of PSS Act. The next one is about operating standard. So now this act enforces the role of RBI in entirety as the sole body for creation, amendment and controlling of the entire framework. So any changes which is required would be actually done by RBI in India. Now the third one, which is the prime purpose for which this act is created, is customer protection. So under customer protection, no charge can be taken for customer using the electronic funds transfer mode. Now your customers funds should be all time protected. So if there happens any mishap, it would be the responsibility of the payment processor, and customer would have to be made risk free if there are any systematic changes. So the PSS Act is all about payment systems. So because of payment systems, if there is any mishap, then it has to be borne by the intermediaries, not penalized to the customer. Now it also has to do sufficient disclosures to the customer who is using it. Even in case of any disputes, the customer should be all the time protected. If customer's fault is not there, and if it is a systemic fault, definitely customer has to be protected in all the time. So supreme purpose for this PSS Act is customer protection. The next one is about a clear-cut guidelines for how the use of this funds should happen. So which is normally called as your settlement funds. So now the amount that would be transferred from party A to party B. So party A being the customer would have given the amount, and if it takes some time to deposit that money to party B, in the interim period it lies with the payment processor or any other stakeholder who is in between, but this fund cannot be used for any other purpose. It has to be left there till it moves to the next fund. So that is the whole and soul. The intermediary cannot have any dubious interest on the funds. The next one is about sufficient disclosures. So this disclosures would be to RBI as well. So from time and again, your disclosures about your settlement or your netting has to be done to RBI, and it is also subjected to audits. Any change in the system parameters or the processes has to be informed before before being implemented to RBI. So RBI takes the sole responsibility. RBI has to be intimated before any change has to be done to the system. The next one is about data access on demand. So if any scenario happens and the data is asked by either your customer or your RBI, that data has to be stored in a proper way and can be or should be made available to the parties. Now, this is applicable for all the transaction information and also the documents. So, a thorough access has to be given if there is any legitimate need to provide that data. The last but not the least is about confidentiality. So, wherein all your PI information, your transaction information, and documents are to be maintained in such a way that it cannot be proliferated, or a third party who is not supposed to use this information should be able to use this. So primarily around these principles your PSS Act is working. So this is acting strong from 2007. There has been subsequent changes and there has been multiple committees which are formed from time and again in case of any changes required. So this is in short what is PSS Act bringing in India. The similar way there has been regulations in European region called as your SEPA, and in other regions also as different laws. I'll try to cover as far as possible about different regions as well. So thanks a lot for watching my video, viewers.